Parton took off for Nashville, a town at the time she called mean.
It was a lot of that, being lonely, being homesick, crying every night.
Were you ever tempted to just pack it in and
No.
go home?
Never crossed my mind.
Music City was not just the beginning of her career, but also of her love story. Her first day in town, the 18-year-old met her future husband, Carl Dean, outside of a laundromat.
He's just quiet and private. He don't do interviews, but he's a good man. He's a good friend.
In 1967, Porter Wagoner invited Parton to join his TV show, and Nashville finally realized they had a star.
In my Tennessee mountain home.
What do you think you learned then?
I learned to really use my talent as my strength and my power.
Jolene, 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 Jolene.
50 studio albums and 25 #1 hits later,
Please don't take him just because you can.
Parton became one of the best-selling artists of all time.
You know, I look like a woman, but I think like a man. And in this world of business, that has helped me a lot, because by the time they think that I don't know what's going on, I done got the money and gone.
Through the years, her career never slowed.
Please, 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 don't prove I'm right.
She collaborated with younger artists,
I'll be a rock star.
experimented with different genres,
If you hadn't taken that risk, you never would have become Hannah Montana.
and made new generations fall in love with her.
If you hadn't been there, where would I be?
In March, Parton's husband, Carl Dean, died at 82 years old. She dedicated this song to him.
The ups and downs we've always shared.
You've written most of the chapters.
I've written most of the chapters. I'm on my last chapter because of my, my age and everything. But I want it to really be the best one.
Yeah.
I want the story to end really well.
Are you working on an ending?
No, well, I'm working every day on an ending. And when that ending comes, I hope it's quick and fast. Don't you?
I wouldn't be here if you hadn't been there.
Jamie Wax. Okay, Jamie, let's bring you on, Jamie. First of all, your reaction, definitely, it took my breath away. And you?
Well, mine as well. My big connection to Dolly is my work in the theater and as a creator, because Dolly was kind of the ultimate creator, and we have many mutual friends through that. Her story, of course, has been as inspiring to me as it has been to everyone. As you mentioned, with Porter Wagoner, with everything, with her poverty, she is the hero of Pigeon Forge who would never be pigeonholed, right? She outgrew everything that was expected of her and somehow reached the apex of the next step. And if there's a great American story, I think it is Dolly Parton. I think this is a global loss, but in a huge way, a national loss that really we don't see anymore, that crosses political lines, that crosses economic lines, racial lines. If you don't love Dolly Parton to your soul, there's probably something wrong with you. You need to go examine. And her story is probably the ultimate story of inspiration and American potential and creative potential in our own lives.
She does represent, in my mind, one of the greatest American success stories of all time. And wouldn't you know it, I'll be damned if she didn't write her own soundtrack for that greatest American story of all time.
And it was an evolving soundtrack as well. When it came time to do movies, she wanted to be a movie star. And then she wrote one of the greatest movie themes in history.
Yeah.
When it was time to leave Porter Wagoner, as you said, she wrote one of the greatest I'm Leaving You But I Love You songs in history. And she didn't stop. She just kept going and evolving as the world around her evolved and her own goals evolved.
Yeah, and I think of the opening lines to that song, if I should stay, I would only be in the way. And it tugs at my heartstrings to think, oh, stay a little longer. You're never in the way. You are representative of the way, correct, Jamie?
Yes, and I will tell you that her story, her Broadway musical, is scheduled to come in the spring to Broadway. I think now there's going to be even more interest and excitement about this. This is her life story. But I have many close friends and colleagues who have worked with her in the last year on this piece, and every single person, to a person, tells me that she is exactly who you hope she'll be. When you meet her, she's completely present, she's completely open, and she's everything you hope Dolly will be in your mind, that she actually delivered that on a personal connection with these people who work closely with her.
You know, I had the opportunity to see her not too long ago in Nevada, and it's just amazing to me. If you've never had the opportunity to be at a Dolly Parton concert, it's striking. You see this little person up there on this big stage, and within about 2 seconds, she walks in the high heels, with the hair, with the makeup, and she fills up the place. She fills up the stage, and it was just a great big heart that did that.
You know, there's a story about, of course, that's well told, and she's told a lot in her classic appearances on Carson and afterwards, that her whole look was based on a prostitute who really stood out to her. She was a person looking for an icon in Tennessee, in rural Tennessee, and so she saw all these people who all looked the same, and then there was a woman with flashy makeup and a big curvy figure and huge blonde hair, and she sort of latched on to that and said, well, that stands out, and maybe that's how I stand out.
Well, and I love that she had the humor of so many people that I grew up with in rural America, and it has a little bite to it, to your point about what a lot of people talk about Dolly Parton as having, some of her physical attributes. She said, you see why I have such tiny feet? You know why? Because nothing grows good in the shade. She had great humor, right? And she wasn't afraid to laugh at herself and use it.
Yeah. I mean, the other great joke of hers about her appearance is someone on the set of Steel Magnolias said, how do you get your hair like that? And she said, I don't know. I'm never in the room.
Very true. Good to talk to you. Stay with us for a moment. I would be remiss if we didn't go now to CBS News senior national correspondent Anthony Mason, whose beautiful storytelling was just a part of that CBS News special report. I was struck by the last part of that story.
Yeah.
Your impressions?
I got to tell you, I mean, I'm in shock. As much as there have been hints that this might be coming, she's been such a presence for so long. And even, you know, in what have turned out to be her final days, she was planning this musical you were just talking about. She was really looking forward to bringing it to Broadway. She wanted very much for that to happen. And I really believe that she was going to be there for the debut. So I'm startled, but I think it's largely because of the impact she made on American culture. I mean, she wasn't just a country star. She was a movie star. She was a business star, a businesswoman. Right. As she said to Morley Safer in that 60 Minutes interview, you know, she said, you know, I may be a woman, but I have the mind of a man. And she, you know, she was successful in just about everything that she did and put her mind to. And one of the things I was really struck by when I talked to her down at Dollywood last year was how committed she was to herself right from the beginning. Right. She knew she had talent, and she wasn't going to give up under any circumstance. And it's that resilience that's, you know, been a huge part of her. And she is, I mean, she isn't just a country star. She's a star, right? You know, of just epic proportions.
Without trying. In fact, let's really quickly go now to the announcement that hit social media from a member of her trusted family and listen to that and share that together.
Hey, everyone. My name is Brian Seaver, son of Cassie Parton, and I'm representing the Parton and Owens family today, announcing the passing of my Aunt Dolly Rebecca Parton Dean, sister, sis, Aunt Granny to one generation and Gigi to the next. This video announcement is something Dolly asked of me years ago, before I fully absorbed it as a future reality. As her head of security for more than 2 decades, a role my father Larry held before me, I have imagined the heaviness of this moment, but haven't truly felt it until now. It is an honor that is mixed with absolute pride and great sadness. But sadness lies with us, not with Dolly. Dolly has lived in the light and is in the arms of Jesus, surely met by Carl, her parents, and countless others who have watched her and longed for her to meet them in the heavens. I first went on the road with Dolly as a kid, getting a taste of the road life in the early 1980s. Dolly opened doors not just for me, but for her entire family to reach the potential we didn't even know was possible. Dolly also opened doors for generations of singers, songwriters, musicians, and dreamers from every walk of life and across every continent. By her example, we believe that anything was possible. She never saw a door she couldn't open, and the doors she opened made and changed history. My family and I have shared a lifetime of beautiful memories with Dolly, but so have you. She has always been on your television, your record player, your CD, and on your phone playlist, becoming an extended part of your family whether you liked it or not. Our family and the team she has entrusted with her legacy will work diligently to ensure her spirit will live with us forever. Dolly was a farmer, just like her daddy. He farmed the soil, she farmed songs and happiness. Dolly called me and said she wants to rest in a beautiful bed of plush cotton because after a life wearing heavy rhinestones, she finally deserves to be comfortable and have some rest. Rest in peace, Aunt Dolly, Aunt Granny, Gigi. May God bless Dolly Parton, and may God bless you all. She will always love you.
All right, so that is from her nephew, who, by the way, and I'm a huge student and fan of Dolly Parton. She brought him on stage in the 1980s when he was just a youngster to breakdance at a concert. And from there, he was a part of her entourage and a much-loved part of her family. She kept people close, but that was a spirit that really resonated no matter whether you knew her or not.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I mean, going back to this whole idea, I mean, of how startled we all are. I mean, I was struck by, it was back in June she actually opened basically a gas station. It was called Dolly's Tennessee Travel Shop.
Right.
And I think when I saw that, I thought, okay, maybe she's doing better.
I did too.
But she had just missed another opening recently, and so that raised some concerns in my mind. But as I say, a big part of it is this constant presence in American culture for going back now to the 60s, and she has remained constantly relevant. She's reinvented herself. She's expanded her business. She's expanded her music, and it's an extraordinary accomplishment what she did, both as an artist and as a business person.
Not a scandal, not a controversy. In fact, the heartbeat of her entire life was uniting us. A masterclass. I constantly, as I feel sad about the divisions in our country, reference Dolly Parton as a true north. Somebody once said to me, look, her Q scores, and just to break that down, if you don't know what that is, that's a way in media that people sort of measure influence. Dolly Parton's Q scores are super high, above many, many mega superstars.
Yeah. But if there was one thing everyone could agree on, is loving Dolly Parton. And you talk about the contributions she makes. To me, one of the most significant ones was actually the Imagination Library, which she started.
Absolutely.
And she was deeply committed to getting books in the hands of kids all over the country and sending them to, I think it was on a monthly basis. She showed up again and again to further that cause, and she really believed in it. And I think it made a huge difference from a lot of people. It was a way that she gave back. And she did it, as I say, she was deeply committed to it.
Right, and she knew that for every donation, there was a young person who literally had a book in their hands, pages to turn, stories to read, and then the encouragement, because let's remember this.
Hey everybody, welcome to the live stream. I am a little bit late on the jump today. It always seems to take so long. And, right before, I don't know, what was it about? 45 minutes ago or whatever, I looked at the news and I saw this very sad news that the great Dolly Parton has passed away. So it felt like a fitting way to kind of start, important to me. I had found a few Dolly Parton originally I was trying to find, let's find Dolly on stage with famous accordionists or not famous, but for famous ones, I know she played with a lot of the greats, here and there. She said it had such a long career. And I interviewed the great Joey Miskulin twice last year, at the beginning of the year and towards the end of the year for the ATG. And he's credited with playing on some of her big hits, the accordion part and the Nashville studio sessions. But I couldn't really find any video online. There's one music video from the 90s of a hit that she had that shows an accordion player in the video, but that is the recorded version, so it would definitely get hit with a copyright strike. So instead, what I want to do is start the live stream with some accordion covers, and I had a few in the other browser, and then I quit the browser let me see if I could find the ones that I had found again here. And I don't know. I'm gonna look for ones that I like. If you are the artist of the ones that I close, it's nothing personal. I'm just kind of looking for a thing. Let's check out this one. This is a beautiful performer. I should say perform with a beautiful voice. Molly Bales. I never I never like to make it about the physical appearance. Call somebody beautiful, but anyway, this is a beautiful Jolene cover, which is obviously one of her favorites, or one of everybody's favorites. Let's check this out. Molly Bales singing and playing the accordion here on Jolene. I think it's always cool. This totally ties into our theme for today's class, or not class, but live stream, which is when we get into the main segment, it's going to be about more about accordion as a language, accordion as a conversational language, as a language we want to be fluent in, and looking at lead sheets. And so one of the real puzzles on the accordion, which is an oompa, you get a bass note and a chord button, and how the heck do you play anything except a polka, with that oompa. And so let's check out with this very nice version. Molly has a great voice here. Let me know if it's too quiet. Cool. There's like a klezmer tune in there. That's cool. Oh wow, Pirates of the Caribbean. Nice, Molly. I wonder, I would like to ask her, like, what's the significance of those two tunes that she put in there? I don't know. But cool arrangement. Ba ba ba. Ba chord chord ba 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 ba. I like that a lot. And she's getting around left hand really well. I mean, I'm not gonna get here and analyze the thing. I'm not trying to analyze her playing. I'm just trying to connect it to the topics that I talk about on the live stream. So I don't mean to be critical at all or evaluative of her playing. And I gotta say, I like it, and I like her voice a lot. If you're just joining us, my name is Dallas Vietti. I'm live streaming live from southeastern Pennsylvania in the great city of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. In fact, I've been reading some history about this city. It goes way, way back to amongst the first cities that were founded in this United States, and by Christian missionaries from Bohemia and Moravia, which are two regions that don't really exist as culture. What did Alex Meixner say? Political boundaries, I guess, that don't exist anymore. Anyways, this is my live stream. I'm a professional accordion teacher and accordion performer. And I love I love the accordion. I love playing music. And I started this live stream coming up on about 4 years ago, to keep myself sort of out there. I was actually inspired by a guy that's in the news a lot these days. I won't get political, but his name is Hassan Piker. And if you follow news, you probably heard about him because he's extremely politicized at the moment. He's a big live streamer, and during 2020, I started watching him. He was covering the politics of all the craziness that was going on, and I had never really. He was doing it on a platform called Twitch, which was mostly and still is mostly for live streaming of video games. So people are playing video games. I assume the majority of my audience is not people that know about Twitch. It seems like my accordion audience tends to be a little bit older, a little bit wiser, let's say, a little bit more experienced. But anyways, this platform mostly for video games, and then you watch people and you grow to like their commentary and the way they're playing their video games and stuff. But this guy had this sort of format where this guy being Hassan had this format where he could pull up CNN, their Twitter page, or watch their live news video or whatever, and comment on it, and bring in all these other sources, social media, and all sorts of stuff, video and text, and then him talking. I was like, that's so cool. I wonder if I could do that for accordion. And I had the idea for a while, and then I finally started doing it. And so it's where I get to go and hang out and watch and listen to accordion music that I love. We've gone through all sorts of different things about technique and different performers and different genres, and it's gotten kind of ethnomusicological a little bit. And I actually feel like I'm returning to there. I have some really cool ideas with the podcast and what I want to do with that, and kind of just thinking about North America, the place that I live, and the place that some of you, I assume many of you watching, live. And just the beauty of our musics, of course, that are here, regionalism, different cultures, and all that sort of stuff, genres, styles, popular musics for accordion, and just how cool that is. And of course, also the world. There are many global styles that we cover here a lot, and many that I'd love to get more into the mix. I just learned about a genre I had never heard of from Texas. That is like a Native American genre. I'll probably do a show on that. I was talking to somebody who has taken lessons from me who's in Israel. I want to do this whole series on accordionists of the Levant. So lots of different countries there: Israel, Palestine, Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, Egypt, all that sort of. That's been in my head for a while. And there are regions in crisis and region where you have all that sort of stuff. Anyways. That's the live stream, and here we are today on Tuesday. I'm all tongue twisted here. Today is Tuesday. It is October the 25th here. Just starting to get a little bit cloudy. I'm just looking out the window here. It seemed like it was brighter earlier today, and now it's a little bit cloudier here. We're getting really the beginning early fall weather, I guess late summer weather. The sun is hot, it's high UV, but also you start to see little, certain leaves starting to fall a little bit. And so it's beautiful. And of course you get that little back to school feeling that I think stays with us even as adults. I know my partner and my friends who have 9-to-5s, they have that Sunday blues kind of feeling, which I remember as a person. And when I had a 9-to-5, all that kind of stuff. Anyways, welcome to everybody here. You're all welcome. Welcome to everybody watching live and in the future. We have this wonderful chat here, I guess to my right on the screen, or I don't know how it looks to you, but it's over on this side. And if you're watching live, you can pop in. I'm on 3, whatever you're watching this on is the one I'm on. I love the chat. It connects me to you guys. The first thing that we do today is I want to try to find a couple more covers of Dolly Parton, and if anybody has good ones to throw in the chat. The one thing that I have to be careful of is really to avoid music that is like released by a publishing company and uploaded. Basically, if you could find this song on a streaming service like Spotify or Apple Music or whatever, I probably cannot and should not show it here, because on the replay, that portion of the video gets muted, and that stinks for people watching. And then also it could potentially put me at risk for a copyright strike. I like to say this thing. I have values. I'm a man of values for good and for bad. Things feel right and wrong, and about the world. And I have my own things that feel important and people who feel important to me. And we're at a weird moment in our American democracy with a lot of things going on. And back, I think it was in November of this past year, I penned this thing that I started saying at the beginning. It's just a little statement of my values. It is sort of heavily weighted to things going on at that time, but the values are still true. And I'm going to say it as I try to say it at the beginning of every live stream. These are my values, and therefore the values of my life, and that have made me the musician with the perspective that I have through thick and thin and through good and bad and ups and downs. And I think they're important. And the reason that I say them is because if you're out there and you have some of these same values, it feels good to know that there are other people, similar people into similar interests that also feel the same way and are kind of working towards the same thing. So here's what I'm going to say. Welcome to this accordion live stream. This live stream is pro accordion, of course. We're pro the rights of musicians and musicians' rights, which pretty much all musicians that I know of are freelance musicians. So we're freelancers, and with that comes this whole challenging thing in this capitalistic ecosystem we have. For example, I just had to have a colonoscopy and an endoscopy yesterday, and that's really hard as a self-employed person for the obtaining of that procedure and the paying of that procedure. So we are pro universal healthcare in the United States. The United States is the only first world nation with a democracy that does not have it. Mexico recently announced that they are giving their citizenship universal healthcare. So these are the things that I vote on, and I suggest you vote on these things too. Let's get universal healthcare. We can totally do it. If we have money to do all this other stuff, let's take care of ourselves. We're pro educators' rights and representation. We're very pro LGBTQIA+. We're pro gender equality. We're pro feminist. We're pro democracy and political plurality. We're pro immigrant and pro immigration. My grandparents came over from Scotland as immigrants, and then my mom and her siblings immigrated from Canada here to the United States, and similar on my dad's family a few generations back. I think all of us are immigrants here in this country. We are anti-fascist. We're anti-white supremacist. We're anti-war in general. We're pro-peace, pro-humanitarian. We are anti the genocide of the Palestinian people, and we are also anti-Semitic. That criticism has nothing to do with the Jewish people. Has everything to do with war and governments. We're pro-public funding for the arts. We're pro-public education and pro-educators. We're pro-academia, and all that kind of stuff. And the list goes on and on. Those are my values, and they feel important to say, and I proudly say them here. Now, that being said, what's going to happen on today's live stream? Well, we're going to start off remembering Dolly Parton a little bit more. I'm going to try to find a couple more cover videos. If anybody out there has anything in the chat that you want to share with me, I'll fire it up. And that goes for anything, anytime, any day. I want to know what you found that you like, that you think is cool. Shoot it over here. Again, the requirement is it cannot have been uploaded to these streaming services. But share some cool stuff with me, guys. Come on. educate me, or just let me know what you're into. The main bulk of today's live stream today is to continue this idea of creativity, music as a language, which I'll get into in a moment. But we're gonna again address a lead sheet, and I'm gonna talk about 3 steps of 3 different ways that most newer or sort of somewhat, at least somewhat experienced people on the accordion can begin to, I'm going to use the word realize. So to take what we call a lead sheet, which I've been talking about for a couple weeks now, and to do some stuff with it. And I will talk more in depth about that. I had some ideas before, but I feel like now today we should just look for Dolly Parton lead sheets and tunes that she wrote or tunes that she popularized. So maybe we'll do Jolene, and we'll try out the left-hand pattern that we saw. We'll get into some. I would like to try 9 to 5. I like that song. I like that movie. We found a VHS copy of that a couple of years ago when we watched it. It's pretty great. The boss totally sucks. He's this POS like misogynist guy, and then the women working for him really kind of take power and put him in his place and all that sort of stuff. It's kind of a statement of the times. In the 70s, it says a lot. You know, I remember when Ruth Bader Ginsburg's obituary happened, and I was born in 82, and I didn't even realize that it wasn't until the 70s that a woman could get a credit card by herself without having to have a man co-sign for her. So we're living in ages that are just still many people are out there struggling to have the same rights, you know, as everyone should have. So anyways, Dolly Parton has been, you know, just such a wonderful musician and I don't know, cultural touchstone. So why don't we kind of start off there? If you're out there watching, say hi. We'll do a little Dolly. Oh yeah, and I'm gonna promote some more Midwest tour stuff. I'm getting all that finalized. It's looking pretty good now. I'm preparing for gigs and setting up house concerts and house workshops and all this fun stuff. I'm really excited. So let's kick it back over to YouTube. Thank you so much, Amanda Bales. She was cool. I'm gonna click into her channel and see. She only has 16 subscribers. I'll subscribe to her. All right, she has some personal videos, so definitely not going to watch those. That's her kind of personal life there, but that was beautiful. Let's see what else we have. Dolly Parton accordion cover. Now, I found a lot more on my search before. I'm not finding them. The algorithm. Let's see if I say accordion version, maybe. Dolly Parton accordion version. We already heard Jolene. All right, we got accordion. Let's check out who is this performers. The channel is called, good, we got a diatonic accordion and a piano accordion. We got a nice living room setup. Looks everybody's been in a living room like this before. Silver Threads and Golden Needles, as sung by Skeeter Davis, Dolly Parton, Linda Ronstadt, Dusty Springfield, and Wanda Jackson. This is a duet by Bob on the piano accordion and Hector on the diatonic accordion, and they tell us that it's in the key of G. Let's check this one out. Nice. Hector and Hornet. I like this. These guys are cool.
Hey, dude. Silver Threads and Golden Needles.
Nice.
An old country one?
It's an old country one.
I think the Dolly's even done this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I reckon she might have.
Hey, Alma. Francine Raymond. All right, Fran. Yeah, cool. Welcome back from the cottage. Very beautiful. Very cool. All right. So let's get into the chat's requests. So I asked Birdie to look up one. We'll see if he can get one for me. Fran, I'm going to check it out. So let's see. Yeah, Yeah. Hey, Fran, welcome. I mistakenly thought that you had a suggestion for a Dolly Parton tune. Oh yeah, I was gonna check out this one. Okay, Coat of Many Colors by Dolly Parton. Nice, accordion Lammy. Nice little keychain. Yeah, very cool, very cool. All right, I feel like we've come across her before. This name sounds familiar. What? I want to know more about her. Let's see. What began as a humble lockdown pastime has evolved into an exhilarating musical journey. Yeah, she got a nice style. Wow. This looks like she lives in the British Isles somewhere. Scotland or Ireland, maybe? I don't know. Really cool. Cool, Lammy. Great playing. I like your articulations a lot. All right, so let's see. Birdie did send one over. Thank you so much, Birdie. This is Bernadette, Edward and Bernadette Zabawa. And Bernadette's going to play I Will Always Love You on her beautiful Beltuna leader. I'm going to guess it's a leader 4. These accordions, oh man, they're so good. I remember Steve Normandon, the first years that I taught at Django and June, Steve Normandon, who really knows how to, that guy is a crazy good musician. He had one of these, and of this, I could tell by the grill, it was like the same years. I think it was from the 90s. Anyways, that thing sounded incredible. And I know Michael Schaefer just got a really amazing, tiny, compact Beltuna. Beltuna is just a fantastic brand. When I was doing all the demos at Liberty Bellows years ago, it's been a long time since I've done demos there, because now they have the great Stanislav as their in-house. I think he's salaried over there. he's a wonderful guy and a really wonderful teacher and accordion player. But he does all the demos now, so they don't need me. But before that, I tried lots of stuff, everything that came through there, or not everything, but I would go and lots of stuff comes through there. I would get to try all the Brandonis and make those demos, and all the Beltunas and the Scandalis. And what else did they have a lot of? Yeah, Sarah has a Beltuna. Yeah. And the Beltunas, I mean, they were just, one, fantastic, and two, so consistent across the board. Are they a little bit more expensive? Yes. I think they're kind of more on the Potosa level. Also, when I talk to people that have been over and done the factory tours, everybody tells me Beltuna's factory is the most impressive. They have, it's the biggest, it has the most set up in it. The quality of what comes out is extremely consistent. They're really wonderful instruments, and they have this thing called amplisound, which is like a door opens in the back of the tone chamber, and it allows sound to come out into sort of a larger box, and it creates this almost like an echo or like a reverb sort of effect. And I think you either love it or you hate it or whatever. I particularly love it. I think it just sounds so cool. Anyways, okay, with no further ado, here is Bernadette on I Will Always Love You in honor of Dolly Parton here. So Dolly Parton wrote this song, but we know it as popular because Whitney Houston had the big hit with it. Let me start this again. I really interrupted Bernadette here. And wow, this that low end. Sounds like the amplisound is on. Yeah! Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Oops, don't autoplay. Don't autoplay, but yes, let's click on Bernadette's page here. I want to know more about Bernadette. I don't think we've watched Bernadette on the stream before. Cool, Bernadette. What else has she got? She covers Shakira, Ozzy Osbourne. Oh shoot, this is cool. Who is Bernadette? It's always been my dream to bring the accordion to a wide audience. That's why you'll find classic pop, rock and roll, heavy metal. Very cool. We don't know where in the world she is. But I dig it. I dig it. Let's see. She talks about her young daughter. She also plays freebass. Very cool. All right. Well, in the interest of staying on topic, we will not go into what she's got going on, but I subscribed, so I'm sure. Looks like she posts pretty regularly. I found a gypsy jazz version of 9 to 5 that I want to try out. It's by the Spyglass Gypsies, a band that I don't think I'm familiar with. Let's check that out. This again is honoring Dolly Parton, who the world learned passed away about an hour or so ago, I think. I could be wrong, could be longer. Here we go. 9 to 5. Yeah. Dude, this rocks. Yeah. Yeah, dude. Where are Spyglass Gypsies from? Where in the world? I feel like they're not from the United States. Yeah. Profile. Maybe they don't exist anymore. That's too bad. That's a good arrangement. Where's Merrickville? Camelot Lounge. Merrickville. Where in the world is this? NSW. Sydney, Australia? Sydney, Australia. How about that? Cool. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Love that sax player. This is a good band, man. They got a great pocket. Feels so good. Woo! Beautiful tone too. Hey, I want to steal this arrangement. It's so good. Take the melody out. That feels great. Oh no, not the melody. He's gonna play a solo. I'm gonna go. I left my water bottle downstairs. I'll be right back. Turn this up so I can hear it all the way downstairs. I'm back. That was great. Gotta find my browser here. All right, that's probably enough of that. Let's see. Let's go back. I had like the live thing open. Did I close that? I guess because it just happened, there was all these like live news channels. CNN. That's okay. I'm sure the news will be inundated about this for a week or something like that. Anyways, rest in peace, Dolly. So let's see. Moving forward to the next segment. Yeah, I agree, XPN. Moving forward to the next segment, I just want to plug a few things that are coming up. In fact, if you live in the Lehigh Valley, if you happen to be watching, I'm going to be gigging mostly on keyboards, but probably a little bit of accordion on Thursday in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania at the Sun Inn. I believe it's 5:30 to 8:30 outside in this really cool area behind the Sun Inn courtyard. And you don't have to pay anything, but if you want to buy a beer, you got to pay for that. They have some nice beer there and other drinks. It's a really a cool little spot in right in off Main Street in Pennsylvania, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. I would like to show you my Midwest tour stuff. So I'm making 3 stops on my Midwest tour. Finally, I have my touring minivan. It is a Toyota Sienna. I finally got it. It's outfitted. I got a little portable battery and a little portable refrigerator in it. I want to show you guys. I did end up picking up this. I bought that chair and I tried it out, and I thought about the stool. I should have shown it on the live stream. Didn't get my stuff together by then. Yeah, Musette Mama is saying flags will be flown at half-mast for a week. It's true. I'm trying to get my AI to make a little like frame here so it'll show that. But as far as music stands go, I found this, and when it came in the mail, this was what was recommended as kind of the most professional thing. And I actually, a couple weeks ago, I did a gig with some guys that gig a lot, and I saw a couple of them actually had this same stand. So I was like, oh, I probably got the right thing. When it showed up in the mail, I looked at the box and I opened up the box. I was like, this is too heavy. It's too heavy and it's too big. And then I put the iPad on it, and the iPad is actually quite heavy, you know, when you think about it, compared to the normal weight of what you would normally put up there. You know, even if you do have a binder of your charts, it's not as heavy as an iPad is, especially like the bigger iPad. And so it made sense why you want this heavier one, because you know the iPad's like $1,000 for the bigger one, so you don't want that thing to fall over from breeze or vibrations or whatever. So this is what I got. I'll show you how it works. I am gonna use probably a hairdryer and I don't want to be on stage and have these like little logos and stuff on there. I don't like that. In fact, I wish that this looked a little bit less gadgety. You know, it looks a little, I don't know. I want things to be sleek and like whatever. But it has these clamps. It's called an air turn go stand, and it's sold in sort of 2 components. The bottom part, which has a microphone connection, the standard. I shouldn't say the standard, but what we use as standard in the United States, which is this larger threading. I want to say it's 1/4 inch size, I think. So we can take this off here. So this would be your standard like microphone threading size. Let's see. There you go. That size. And then this part is separate. And so when you buy it, you have to buy both of these. And I think that if you buy it like together, you get a deal versus buying it a la carte. But it is, nope, it's not going to be faster. It is very, very adjustable. It gets quite low. One of the things that I wanted and was a problem is that really what's a much better professional look is to keep your music stand lower. So although, you know, when I have like a lot of notes that I got to read and I haven't memorized the music, then I need it kind of up in my face. And if I'm not sort of one of the featured things to look at, it doesn't matter, right? But a lot of the times when you perform on stage, you're above the audience. And when you're above the audience, that puts this, let's see. That puts this sort of right in front of you, you know? They're below you. So they also want to see my hands. That's part of the thing. They want to see my face. They want to see the bellows move. And that means that your sheet music, your music stand is right in front of you. So the much better pro thing to do, this is my pro tip, and what I'm trying to do with my life is get it low, man, especially if it's something that you could, just like a chord chart or whatever. Now this is totally, I have it upside down. Now check this out. Also, this is cool. So I put it on there upside down, but not to worry, because you can unscrew a little thing like this, and then it will, let's see, it'll rotate like that. It clicks sideways, kind of clicks into a place, and then again. So now it's the correct place. Actually, it was no. Here, now it's correctly set up. So just like that. And now you can see me, and I can still see my music. I look like a pro. I don't look like, oh, this guy's unprepared for the gig. He's reading all the charts, you know. So I went with this one. I'm excited about it. I will be bringing it on the Midwest tour that's happening, so that's pretty fun. So I would recommend that as my gear review of the day. What's up, Carmenuch? How you doing, man? Rest in peace, Dolly Parton. I know Carmine's got to be a fan of Dolly. Who isn't? Like, one of the obits that, like, Birdie's always the first on, at least to say hello. And one of the, I think it was like CNN or something, one of the commenters said, you know, Dolly Parton is one of the last sort of very like everybody, no matter like what your interest is, if you're conservative or liberal or what, probably the young kids don't really have any relationship with her, but like her, just like everybody loved her, and she was, and that's kind of interesting to think about, that we don't have really so many of those people anymore that have that wide appeal. Okay, so what I wanted to do is quickly sort of plug my Midwest tour if you do happen to be in these tour areas. In the Midwest, I'm coming to Madison, Wisconsin. Somebody just Facebook messaged me. I'll check that out later. Coming to Madison, Wisconsin. Let me pull up my website here. This is on the website. I still got to change this to spring session. Make this a little bit bigger. Doop. Okay. So now I have a few new tabs here to make things easy for folks as I plan to do more of these regional workshops. So we have West Michigan, Andersonville, and Madison. I actually mean to change this so you can see the dates of them. But the first place I'm going is Madison, Wisconsin. Here's a little edited photo of me. So I'll be on September 11th and 12th. I'll be playing with this band called The Harmonious Whale. Judy Mitchell says Dolly Parton was one smart cookie. I'll say so. Yeah, Carmenuch is verklempt. Well, hugs to you, Carmenuch. And to everybody out there mourning Dolly. September 11th and 12th, Madison, Wisconsin. That's a Friday and a Saturday. It's this wonderful Midwest Gypsy Swing Fest festival. I'm going to be playing there. And then I don't really have like an organized event yet. However, if you're in the area and you want to get together with me, I will organize either a one-on-one thing or a group thing. So far, I think of all my people that I know out there, that is not a ton, but only one person is sort of available. The other people aren't available this particular weekend to come and meet and hang out. So because of that, this is sort of like a hit me up and I'll organize something around it sort of event. You can find that right off the homepage of RisingReed. Then I'm going to go from there. I'm going to go to Chicago. And this is my friend Heather Reardon, who also is a sometime student of mine and also a teacher in her own right and performer in Chicago, and an actress and many other things. But that's Heather, lovely Heather on the right, and me on the left, of course, squinting in the sun. And she's going to allow me to do a workshop at her house. Because of that, I'm not listing the address of her home publicly. However, if you RSVP and you confirm that you're going to come, then of course we'll give you the address. And that's at this really cool neighborhood called Andersonville in Chicago. It's where a lot of hip stuff is. And I'm going to do a workshop. Heather's wonderful, and she's really into the cinema thing. She's been over to France to study with Jack and Natalie, and she's come to, I think, pretty much all. She couldn't make it to this year's, unfortunately, but all the other Cinema USA's workshops. And she teaches her all the stuff that I'm teaching in the fundamentals of accordion class. she's been taught also through Jack and Natalie, and she teaches her students. So I'm going to do sort of an in-person version of that as like a, it's of course going to shift a little bit to who shows up, but we have room in her atelier for probably about 8 people. I can think of probably about 3 already that are gonna come. So we have room for 5 more if it should be that many. This is the first time that I've ever done a workshop there. I think in future years, she's gonna try to get me into the Old Town Music School, which is very cool. This sort of a historic happening place in Chicago, and I'll next year, or even before this time next year, because this seems to be an annual event in September for me to do now, to do these 3 cities, Madison, Chicago, and Michigan rather. Anyways, we're going to do a workshop there. And if you happen to be in Chicago and you're free on Tuesday, the 16th, I think? Tuesday the 15th, you should come to my workshop. Also, I'm organizing some other events, like Jimmy Keane is playing at the Guinness Brewery on Sunday, so I want to get together with my accordion friends and go see him, have a beer, listen to the great Jimmy Keane, and hang out. That'll be really fun. I'm going to try to get out into the city with people and see. Chicago has tons of great music. It's just a really cool city, and this is a great time of year to be there. And I get to stay at Heather's in Andersonville, which is like a great location to be and to get around. So please, if you know me, if you're a student or whatever, and you want to meet up with me somewhere at a gig that I'm going to or whatever, I'm not doing any performances while I'm there, but I'll certainly play a tune. But I'm going to do a little bit of teaching, and then hopefully in the future we'll do more. And then I already plugged this last week, but I want to plug it again. My friend and wonderful accordionist and teacher, Michael Schaefer on the left. I have a bunch of stuff going on in West Michigan. So we actually have moved our concert. He was very kind. Actually got a gig that pays pretty good with the Gypsy Jazz Band I'm playing with. And I said, man, this pays really well. Could we possibly move your concert? So we moved it to Friday, which I think is even better because you don't have people that have 9 to 5s don't work in 9 to 5. You don't have to go to work the next day. So Michael and I are going to do a duo concert. His house, same kind of thing as Heather's. I don't want to put his address on the internet. So just RSVP, and you can access all that stuff. Then the next day on Saturday, we're teaching 2 workshops, one in downtown Grand Rapids in the morning, and then in the early afternoon, we're teaching another one in Greenville before I do this really awesome swing dance concert with Third Coast Swing, which is a great gypsy jazz band that I played with before last year when I was there. We're going to have Michael Schaefer on one tune. I think it might be, Style Musette, I think he said he wants to do. So whatever you're interested in, you could just sort of RSVP for any of that stuff here, and we'll get you info, and the pricing for all that stuff is there. So these workshops that I'm teaching, co-teaching with Michael, so it's going to be really fun. We have a lot of the same interests in pedagogy, and then we also have diverging interests in pedagogy, and that should be really cool. So that's what's going on for that. And I do want to announce, I've been getting some inquiries. People are like, come on, man, where are the rest of the jazz workshops? People are ready. I finished the jazz workshop. That was a success. Room for improvement with my organization and stuff, but it was great. January through March of this year, and definitely going to start up in October. So once September hits, I'll be able to outline what I'm going to be doing for the next step for that. And then, so I'm planning to do October through December as a 3-month group jazz class. Very, very similar, but going forward and more applicable to how the heck do you use this stuff, and adding some new stuff. And then again, January through March. So all that stuff is great. If you live anywhere in the world and you want to invite me to come do a house concert, or you want to connect me with a local venue to do a concert, and I can do a workshop or something, I could park my van in your driveway and sleep in it and use your bathroom, hit me up. I'm looking to expand this concept out. So to be able to travel out and back from my house in southeastern Pennsylvania, I think my network of people that I know is really amazing and cool. I can especially say I want to head south for the winter, make it down to Florida at least once. And I was thinking how cool it would be to drive the van and hit some places along the way. So the Carolinas, Virginia, even inward a little bit, Alabama, Mississippi, stuff like that, New Orleans, all the way making it down to Florida. these are these are dreams, folks. Anyways, I'm available, and with your help, I can come out and do sort of these like little regional workshops more and more, which I think is a cool thing because the bulk of my teaching is online, and most of these people, most of you wonderful people, although I feel like I know you really well over the years, over the months, whatever, we never meet. It's always really cool when I do get to meet you in person, and it's really, really cool when we get to have an in-person lesson or something. There's always these things that just, you know, can get communicated differently in person, and you can jam, and it's just fun. It's just great. So throwing that out, that is the end of my plug segment, and now we're going to go on to the next segment. Before we do, why don't we check out a little bit more? Let's see. I guess it's kind of got to be about Dolly, right? So let's see. Are there any more suggestions for Dolly covers? Let's see what else we can find here. There's I Will Always Love You. Not digging YouTube's algorithm here. That's weird. Let's see. Keep looking here. Now, why did this come up? I have no idea. I think the algorithm's just showing a lot of the obit stuff. Lots of Jolene's. Unfortunately, we already saw Jolene. I don't want to show that one again. There's Merle. Well, you know what? Let me go to the shorts. Let's see what's on the shorts instead of the regular videos. Checking with the chat here. What's the chat say? Nothing new. Okay. I'm struggling, guys. I gotta find one more here. Boo. Okay. YouTube's algorithm is failing us. Let's do Dolly Parton, accordion. See what comes up here for videos. We love you, Dolly. Another Jolene. Lots of Jolene's. That's from Instagram. Is there an accordion? I can't tell. Too many Jolene's. Sorry, guys. I refuse to give up now. See if chat can help me out. Ah, okay. Birdie sent me a song in Spanish. Thank you. All right. Now we're talking. Thank you, Birdie. Have this open over here. Copy it. Thank you, Birdie. Birdie helping us out for the win. Always the MVP. All right. Pause this, unmute it. Here we go. Okay. Here's I Will Always Love You in Spanish on diatonic button accordion. The performer is Evelyn Falcon.
Yo me quedo, tan solo sería un estorbo. Me voy, pero sé que pensar en ti donde quiera que estés. Y yo siempre te amaré, siempre te amaré. Yo siempre
That's the end of that one. All right, I guess that's good enough. Let's get into to what I had planned to talk about today for the second and final segment for today. Fran says I should play something jazz, Dolly Parton. I agree. I should. What I wanted to talk about today in today's segment is my this is just the personality that I have. I have this very sort of emphatic and a little bit, what's the word? I don't know. I tend to feel very like my ideas are very important. Anyways, music is a language. And one of the things that I'm realizing that I have been, it's really amongst my earliest sort of methodologies, learning like what we thought was jazz as middle school. We called it junior high and high school. And what I now call like vernacular music, for lack of a better term. It's not like the most brandable word, but let's put music into sort of two categories. Vernacular music, which means stuff where you sort of make up your parts. Like, hey, do you know this song? Yeah, I know that song. Let's play it together. That's vernacular music, no matter what it is. Or music that could be played and improvised or changed upon. And it is my assertion, especially from this learning, I know I've said this on the stream before, but like this was all music, even and especially classical music. So the origins of Baroque music coming out and the music before that, what we would call Renaissance music, which is based on plain chant and church music. Before that, in the Middle Ages and stuff, the origins of Western music, which I'm not talking about popular music, but what we think of as classical music, that was improvised. It was. Yeah, things were written out, but still it was improvised upon. Undoubtedly, the performers did not just play what was written. Things would be written out, but the tradition and training was to be able to make stuff up on your own. Complete fabrication of stuff, or to be able to realize based on a melody, and that melody would be embellished, it would be changed, and the musicians could do it. Hey, it's the three of us. Here's the melody we have at church or this other sort of function in those days in the 1600s, 1500s, up into the 1700s. And it would be like, oh, we need an alto part. No problem. I'll improvise this alto part. I know what the alto part is supposed to be like, and I can hear what's going on, or I could read this abbreviated notation. And the abbreviated notation also had to do with the limits because you had fast, rapid turnaround, and you didn't have a copy machine. You didn't have an iPad. You couldn't airdrop something to somebody. And it's your gig and you got to turn out new stuff for the church. There were like a bajillion churches, you know, in Western Europe and Northern Europe at that time. And all of them had music at that time. And so the ability to read shorthand and create things spontaneously was the gig, you know, it was of necessity. And also it was the spontaneous, creation from the soul. So that's my sort of connection. And what I've learned from this history, which is what they call Galant, Galant, you can look that up, the music of the Galant period, that's what they call themselves. Baroque is a term that historians and history has applied to that period after the fact. They themselves consider themselves Galant musicians, playing in the church, playing, I forget, there's three, I can't remember the other two, but there's three sort of situations that Galant musicians were expected to perform in. The church things were one, and there was two others. Anyways, then you had sort of the way society and governments and politics and stuff changed. You have sort of the merchant class arriving, and you don't just have this sort of like caste system where you're born a shoemaker family and that's what you're going to do, you know, or you're born a sort of ruling class. You're like an upper clergyman, or you're like a noble person or whatever. No, we have the merchant classes, and then we have sort of the creation of the university system, and you have these professions. I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to be a professor. I'm going to be a musician. And the way that these scholars, many of them from all over the world, and this stuff is within the last 20 and 30 years that this is being uncovered and written about, and really published and changing the way we're really thinking about this, is that it was like impossible to take a well-intentioned music lover and sort of hereto amateur musician who was 17 or 18 and give them the training equivalent to the system that existed, which had orphans and foundlings and other young people entering at the young ages of 6, 8, 10, or whatever, going through 8 years where all they do is live in this church boarding school and learn to do music. That's all they do. And they're hired out as soon as they can to play music for functions, funerals, and celebrations and churches and all this sort of stuff. And then they leave, and then they go on to have careers, and they are the best musicians in all of Europe. Impossible to take somebody who not have that training and get them to that level in 4 years of college. You just can't do it. So because of that, this whole sort of other construction of, well, we're interpreters and we're going to play, and I'm going to be a scholar of music, and I'm going to use this system of notation and Roman numerals and all this other kind of stuff to do it. So this playing music solely as dots written on a page, and that's what being a musician is the aberrant thing for music history. And as we know, pretty much all the popular music that you put on the radio was not created this way. You know, it's true, you do go into, like, you have a studio session, we hire these other, somebody arranges it, that sort of stuff. But that being said, still the skill set for popular artists and creators is to make it themselves that day. And that's just sort of my background and backup here. I want to put reading sheet music and playing off the page into the umbrella of idea of that music is a language, and we want to be able to speak that language. And what I think I'm something that I'm not saying I'm inventing it. I think I for myself been discovering or realizing this thing I've been doing for a long time, and I think anybody who does this does it. But to use music and do music that way is to, like, access a different part of the brain than the part of the brain or nervous system skills or musicianship self that is used to learn. Say you're working on a complex piece of music that is written out on the page, somebody else's arrangement, written out on the page for you. You learn it, you work hard on it, you even memorize it. That's still coming from a different part of the brain than the part of the brain that I think, this is my hypothesis, I'm not a scientist, I'm a teacher and a player, but it seems like accurate to me, than the part of the brain that does music from the creation part, that does music from the part of the brain that is to communicate, to use it as a language, to say, I feel this in this moment, I want to embellish this way, or, ooh, I hear this little fill, or, ooh, what if my left hand, you know, all these little spontaneous, intuitive things, and even just to touch the accordion from that spirit, not the spirit of, I'm going to do this thing, this choreography of the hands and body, let's say, that I've worked out and practiced a million times because it's really challenging to do. It's like running an obstacle course, like the Great American Ninja or whatever, you know, they got to practice that thing a million times, or the speed runners of the walls, or all that kind of stuff. That is a different part of the brain. And even if you can play that arrangement, and when you can play that arrangement, it doesn't mean that you can do it as a language to spontaneously create. So what I want to talk about is the idea. First of all, I want to put forth the idea that to spontaneously create and to be able to read music can work in tandem. We need them both. But I would say to spontaneously create, to adjust, to embellish, to reharmonize, to change, to be able to play with other people is of a higher, like, value to us all as musicians, higher priority, and has more payback to us as musicians than simply just learning to play notes on a page. I don't mean to take away anybody's tradition. I don't mean to really be critical to anything like that. Just to sort of posit or put together, like, that we can all do this, and I think it connects us more to lots of different cultures, to the music that we actually listen to on the radio, popular music of all types. It gives us skills that allow us more thoroughly and easier to connect to other human beings, which is like, what is the point of language, right? Why would you write something down? Why would you say something out loud, right? So that somebody else can see it or read it. Maybe you might write it down so you yourself could read it later, but, like, why do you learn to read? So you can read what other people say, right? So this is just deep and wonderful, and reading dots on a page is very important, but that's a small, it is one important part of being a musician, but there's all these other parts that I think that really institutional learning, i.e. method books, the way kids are taught music and band, the way the accordion institutions are run, and posit their things, which really that lineage and tradition goes back all the way to the accordion schools. And those musicians mostly didn't play spontaneously either. So of course they wouldn't teach that way. Most of the world's accordion music is not like that, however. That's a small sliver, but that's kind of, I think, my audience that I'm talking to a lot of, not entirely, but is either people who do spontaneously create stuff or people who want to learn to do that. And today's, like the rest of today's, whatever it is, 40 minutes left, I'm going to pull open a tune. I'm going to go through 3 steps that you can do to begin to, what I'm going to say is like create a relationship with the music. So I'm going to find a chart online for 9 to 5. I think you should watch me Google, watch me whip, watch me nay, to reference a song from maybe 10 years ago. Let's do Dolly Parton 9 to 5. And we're going to go with the lead sheet. Lead sheets are great because they have a simple version of the melody. Let me check in with the chat. Chat, what are you telling me? Philip Pides saying preach. I'm preaching, Phil. Thank you, my friend. By the way, Phil, you need to put yourself on the calendar. I sent you that 15-minute phone call calendar. Or you can find it from the website. Just put yourself on there, and then we can schedule a time to talk. Then I know what works for you and what works for me. Working. Let's see. They're going to give me the first page only, I think, of this. They might give me all of it. Let's see. We'll do a screenshot, and then we'll do another screenshot. Don't really need the second page, but let me see if I can open this screenshot in the browser. That would be great. Really save me some technological schlepping. Hey, voila. Okay. Tumble out of bed and stumble in the kitchen. Pour myself a cup of ambition. Yawn and stretch. Okay. All right. So I'm going to do it in steps. I no longer have the accordion visualizer at the moment. Well, the visualizer technology itself works. However, very graciously, Liberty Bellows down in Philadelphia, I assume, it seems to me like they have to be the largest accordion shop in the United States right now. And they have been for a while. The other accordion shops are fantastic as well, but they're the biggest, and they're right in my backyard. They graciously loaned me a MIDI accordion because I was talking about months ago. I was saying how I'm experimenting and I need a MIDI accordion and I'm not ready to bite the bullet to spend the money on a MIDI system in this accordion that I love and play the most. So they lent me this one that has the most gorgeous triple musette. It was so beautiful. And then on Thursday, I got a text from Mike, the owner. He said, "Hey, we sold the accordion. I need you to bring it back as soon as possible." So I drove down there on Saturday and saw the whole gang. Man, that they have like 6 employees there. It's incredible. It's incredible. The operation they have going on over there it was busy. It was in the middle of the day on a Saturday. Beautiful day in Philadelphia. Anyways, I don't have that. We had briefly talked about him loaning me a digital accordion so I could try to like advertise it for him, but he didn't have anything. I had to go, and I said, you know what? I'm going to be going away anyways on this tour, and if you sell this and need it back immediately, I'm not going to be able to get it. Wait till I come back. So I'm going to get something else. Sorry, students in Livestream, but for a few weeks until I get back and get something else, I'm not going to have the visualizer. We're going to have to do it old school. Boo. Everybody loves the visualizer, let me tell you. All right. What does XPN send? I have to admit, I can write a good arrangement, but it's a slow process, and I can't improvise jack in the moment, and I envy anyone who can. XPN, I appreciate your vulnerability and sharing there. And that's the first step, to growth, is just to know what we're trying to do. Okay, so I hope everybody can hear that okay. Let's check this out. So I'm gonna give 3 steps. The third step is the one where it's like we start looking for cool things to do. And I've had numerous, especially when I do the Gypsy Jazz, the Road to Django and June. A lot of that stuff is the same. But I want to give you the first 2 steps that are no harder than any other kind of music. And I'm going to tell you next week on the live stream, what we're going to do is we're going to take Palmer Hughes and other method books, and I'm going to take like an arrangement of something maybe that's a competition piece and show you how you can do this same process on that. It requires the skill of analysis and harmony, which is great and fine, and part of learning the language of music also. Western music requires harmony to do it, you know, to use it and understand what's going on. It's the equivalent of knowing how to read and write, you know. It ain't that hard to do. Everybody can do it. But let's start here. And how can I make this a little bit bigger for everybody? So the first step is just to play some sort of accompaniment in the left hand and play the melody in the right hand. And we're going to see if we can get there. But that's just the first step. So with the lead sheet, all you want to do is play what's written on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and read the melody here. I don't know the song super well, but I'm getting a lot of that off. Let me take that second. I'm gonna start on 1, 2, whatever it is. The jump in the shower. And there's an A. That's what we call the verse. All right. So let me do that again. And like in this case, and with all these tunes, you should know what it sounds like. You should know what it sounds like. So listen to some versions of the song. Find a tune that you've heard before. This is all part of knowing a song, is this sound memory that's in your head, you know, because that's really what you want to be working off. So you want to hear her voice and the voices of the singers in that tune. I'm going to do it again. Ba ba da ba bim bim. Boom ba ba doom di di. Okay, now we got the chorus. Let's see. My reading has gotten so bad. Let me try that again. Second line of the 9 to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. De bu da ba. Ba 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 boom bam. We just need that last little bit. Darn it, how can I do that? I can get it. Hold on a second. Doop doop. And it's got a little walk-up bass here. Let's see. The 2 dominant. Hold on. Then we're gonna walk up. I'm gonna have to remember that. I'm gonna try to get that other part on the screen here for us, so I don't have to do any like. What can we do? I'll add this as another source. Give me 1 second, guys. So while I'm doing this, I'll say that learn the right hand alone. Add existing. No, I want to make a new one. Screen capture. Screen capture. The first ending and the second ending. To make this a little smaller. Smaller chat. A little bit smaller dolly. Right about there. Make that a little smaller. It's pretty good. Okay, so we're gonna take first inning, second inning. All right, 1, 2, a right hand, do. Boom, ba, ba, doom, be, dee. Dig it, dude. Don't work in 9 to 5. Rest. I feel like I don't know exactly how that part's supposed to feel, but that's okay. And then back to, where's this gonna go? Back to the chorus, I think. So, 9. So, where's my B flat? All right, so you get the idea. So you want to play the right hand alone again. Whatever skill, I'm kind of like trying to relate this to sheet music that you know already. Let me check out what the chat's saying. All right. If I am transcribing for an arrangement, I want to listen to at least 3 other people's interpretations. I love that, XPN. Yes. I feel the same way. Exactly. If I'm learning it like new or whatever, totally try to get, the original source version and then the important covers that other people will know, and then sort of other stuff, I think. Then we're going to try to make up some sort of simple left hand. And this is a really, really important thing to do. I would say start with what you can do. Don't delay. So I think most accordion players could do any kind of simple oompa. I'm going to sort of boom jet 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 boom jet. I'm going to copy the version that we heard at the top of the or no, that was for Jolene. Let's see. Boom jet boom jet boom chicka doom da. Let's just start off with a polka thing here. So do ba 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 boom ba bum da ba boom ba 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 boom ba boom boom bum ba boom ba 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 doom bum bum boom be do. That's okay, because you start to feel the harmonic motion of it all. And then does it go back to G? No. Let me try that again. Second chorus. Now C for 2. That's it. Now 9 to 5 doom da 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 doom da break. Oh. Well, how would that be? I guess that would come in on the chord. Rest. And then A7. And then went back to 9 to 5, and then we'd have the second ending. So anything that you can start to feel, this is really, really important, this idea of harmonic motion. And we're going to take this idea and we're going to spin it off to step 2 in a second. But this harmonic motion, there is this rhythm to the way the chords change. And you want to make that an automatic thing that it's like you feel like, oh, I know that it should be here. I know that it's going to change. And I think what will happen is based on your exact ability for your ear and brain, basically the quality of your ear training, which is going to get better and better and better and better, better and better and better your entire life. So don't worry about where it is now. Just keep pursuing it. But that is going to drive you, and you're going to be like, it's going to go here. And it is this sort of musician's intuition, and also this sort of subconscious, because the musicians, we have a lot of things going on at the same time. I don't know how it works, but there's like the conscious thing, like I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to connect with the audience or work it out. And then there's these automatic things. And there's almost like these little programs that get fired, these little Python scripts, you know, oh, I want to do a scale, and it just kind of comes out or whatever. Or it doesn't come out because you haven't written that, you haven't taught your body that yet, but you know that it's something that your intuition wanted to do. So you go, oh, now I have something to practice. How cool. And it's me, and it's my ideas, you know? So we want to practice that and get that together. And you should be memorizing this stuff because remember, you can memorize. Think of all the things you've memorized in your life. And the only reason music is hard to memorize is because you're letting it feel hard. You're letting yourself feel stopped by it. Just give yourself grace. Load yourself up with all the kind words and all the ability to struggle and to go, oh man, that's really hard. I'm not as good as I want to be, but that's okay. I'm going to keep going. It really is no harder than anything else you're doing already. It just might be new. And that in itself is a type of difficulty. Things that are new versus things that are challenging. Or another rubric. What's up, Tom's Accordion? Great to see you. And John Camel in the comments he says, I do the same. He creates a Spotify playlist version, and then he can find it and play it on his earpods during gardening, and when he's and then it gets really, really in his deep memory. Love that, John. I love that so much. That's it. So with all these things, I think, and this is a very sort of jazz musician training is the way that I learned this, but we're creating a relationship with the song. That's what it is. It's very hard to have a relationship with the song if you haven't listened to people's performances of the song a lot. You know, for most of this music as Americans, we grow up, we're surrounded, or no, I shouldn't just say Americans. Anybody out there in the world, you grow up, you know, your entire life you're hearing music, and that's what's inside of you. When you go to pursue a new, like, oh, I've always sort of wanted to try jazz. Well, you got to find the kind of jazz that you like and start listening to it like John Camel described, like put it on while you're walking the dog and while you're driving and while you're doing the dishes and all this kind of stuff. And same for the tunes that you're working on. If you are working on repertoire, like a written arrangement, make a YouTube playlist of versions of the song that you like. Not the ones that you don't like, but the ones that you do like. Oh, this person, I like the way they do this part. I don't care for that. That's cool. Put it on there. Oh, I would do this. Oh, I want to take that way, the way she does that and the way he does that, and, you know, put it all together. So the first step is just figuring out a version, right, of the melody and some simple version of left hand. I think most accordion players can do a basic oompa, and then in step 3, when we get to it, we're going to talk about more fancy things. Judy's saying another thing that Judy likes to do is to be able to listen, be able to, wait, what's that say? Another thing I like to do is be able to hum it after listening to a favorite version. That is such good practice. Like mega tip, I would say, for us all from Judy to hum it. And I think I have this. Let me bring this to the front so this kind of overlays my video here. There we go. Now we can see all the comments fully. Super cool. All right, so now getting on. So the first step for this kind of stuff is just play the left hand alone and think about the melody. Like I sang it, hear it in your head, and get it to where you can feel the rhythm of the song and perform some doable version of a left-hand thing while you are speaking, humming, singing, whistling, whatever you got out of your voice. And that all connects to the language part of your brain. Language. We want to make it like this. And so when we're working off a lead sheet, the lead sheet just has the melody and the chord symbols. So there is no left hand. So your left hand is activating wherever in that brain, parts of it in your brain that are the language parts, that are music as a language, that's happening. And then we're going to take more and more. In step 3, we're going to talk about how we can make the parts that are printed on the page, the melody, more and more ours. So we can say it our way. We can be creative. We can do the whole creative, artistic, soul expressing part of the process. Before we get to that, let's talk about step 2. So step 2 is the one that's like more conversational. So if I'm using language as a analogy, this is like gives you the skills so you can talk to another person and they can talk back to you, which in musician speak is to be able to jam or play with another person. And on the accordion, we have an instrument that can do melodies and it can also do accompaniment. So we're just going to practice simple accompaniment. And these chords are really no more challenging than Palmer Hughes Book 3 or something like that. If it is extra challenging, again, it's just because you're new to it. I have wonderful, I've showed this before in my classes on the stream. I keep showing it to students, but just do a repetition where you do 8 times, then 6 times, then 4 times, then 3 times, then 2 times, then 1 time of the chord shapes that you're working on. And the speed that gets in your nervous system is wild. Tom's accordion. I love all the comments today. Rest in peace, Dolly Parton. Tom says he can pretty much play from memory so he can interact. Yeah, it's because Tom's, I know one of Tom's gigs is out playing at his local farmer's market on the weekends, I think. And Tom is taking his free time and he wants to be a performer. He wants to share his soul. He wants to be out there interacting with his beautiful community where he lives in Minnesota. Where do you live, Tom? Wisconsin, maybe. Anyways, don't tell your town. Don't tell your town, just your state. Anyways, and that's probably how he found me and why he wanted to work with me, but he's doing it. So the next step is just to take essentially what you did with the left hand and add chords in the right hand. So, Baba daba, baba daba deem da bee bum bum bum, baba daba dum ba bum ba daba deep da dee bum bum, boom ba bum ba bum. Baba daba dum ba ba deem da bum ba bum ba daba dum ba ba deem da ba ba doo ba bum bum ba ba doo ba ba bum. Working 9 to 5, do da 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 do down, ba do down, do da 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 do da do da 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 da. That's it. Working 9 to 5. So I want to show you guys a little bit larger what I'm doing. This is something I was just talking about to a student earlier today. It's a wonderful suggestion for how does for those of us who haven't played accompaniment on the accordion and weren't gifted with sort of a spark to just think, I should do it this way. If you're wondering, here's what I suggest. You already know, all accordion players know a left hand pattern. So you have a bass note and then a chord and a bass note and a chord. So starting place is make your chord in the right hand. G major is what's written on the page. 3 notes. And put it at the same time that you play the chord. And what I suggest, this is a little bit of technique, but this is your tip from Uncle Dallas over here. Practice 2 bars opening and 2 bars closing if you're in 4/4 time. So I'll show you 1, 2. Now I'm going to close. Now I'm going to open. Now I'm going to close. That allows you to make all kinds of mistakes and recover. When you have your stuff open out here, if you make a mistake out here, it's going to affect your music. If you make a mistake here, it's totally recoverable. Also, the accordion is so much harder to wield. Wield your accordion like a sword. No, it's harder to control because this, no matter how small or big your accordion is, the bass weight is way out here, and your left hand and arm are more burdened by it this way. So this is really the best. And then there's more details to that. You know, when you have a pickup or the phrase starts on beat 2 or whatever, beat 4, of course, there is times in the music where you learn to adjust a little earlier, a little later, or whatever. But that is always sort of an adjustment to this 2 out, 2 in, or for 3/4 time. Pardon me, I find it very often that I'm doing 4 bars out and 4 bars in, like in Sous le ciel de Paris. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just like that. And that's still because in that case it was a slower tempo or a faster tempo, right? And it was a fast tune, but still 4/4 time, 2 out, 2 in, 3/4 time, try 4 out, 4 in, 4 measures. So that's your basics, and from there we can go on. But this, even just this, allows you. Going back to 9 to 5. Baba dibba deem dabba deem de boom be dum dabba doom dabba doom da boom ba bum ba dibba dum da baba doom da bum baba doom de doo dum. Now all of a sudden, I have the left hand, the right hand, and I'm going to tell you to verbalize the melody, because that is a bridge. That's a step before you put your right hand with the left hand. This helps so much, and it gives you this idea of the harmonic motion of the song. I can feel like you can start to memorize it that way too. And our music almost always winds up really in sets of fours, almost all the time. And when it's not in a set of four, a feeling of four measures, like I would say 1, 2, 3, 4. One. That's sort of the opening of this section, and now the closing. 1, 2. Let's see. I gotta hear it in time again. 1, 2, 3. Ah, shit. 1, 2. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3. That opening. 4. 1, 2, 3. That's closing. And again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 4, 4. Whatever. Sorry, already kind of loud, but this is a big thing that I think will. It's such a simple pattern. Humans, musicians in general, we're pattern based. We're pattern based. We're not thinking like, I don't know. We compress these things into simpler patterns, and then that's what we sort of hold. Simple information. Oh yeah, and this explains, I think, what we feel. That's the biggest thing. When we have information to condense and explain and summarize, it must be truthful. And I think that this, in general, for a lot of this popular vernacular music that we play, whatever the genre, try to understand and see if it fits this idea of fours. And fours are something that you can, again, you want to get this internal feeling. There's this word proprioception, which is like, I know where in space my arm is. Like, I know about how far it is to the microphone, about how far it is to my face. I know about how far it is to the keyboard. Even though I can't see it, we call that proprioception, your limbs in space. So even though I'm not actively watching it and like measuring the whole thing, there's this phenomenology in my brain that I know where I am in space. I call this the proprioception of the song form. So even though I'm not counting bar 1, bar 2, bar 3, I know where I am. Oh, I'm coming up to I finished this. Now here's the chorus. I don't have to count. Although when I was younger, I did have to count. And then eventually with practice and all this kind of stuff, I found my way that's like, oh yeah, you can just, if I focus on the feeling of the song in my head, because a lot of you guys do this already, like I'm embedding the song in my head, or maybe it's from playing it a million times. I have it in my head. Then I feel that in space. I'm following that song, and I know that just the style of our music, the idiomatically, it does so often happen in fours. So let's count the fours at 9-5. 1, 2, 1, chorus. Working 1, 9, 2, 5. That's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now change. Da di da di 1. Right? So that's 4. So you have a series of 4s. You got 4 of the C's, you got 4 of the G's, you got 4 of the C's, and you got this A7, D7 thing, right? And that's an easy sort of pulsation or a narration or whatever, progressing in time. And this is what you want. This is the language of the song, and it allows you to do it. That's what you want to do. So this is so great to practice the right hand and the left hand, because then if you want to make an arrangement, you can make introductions and endings from this. You can jam with somebody else who knows how to play it. Oh, I got a fiddler player friend who knows how to play the melody, or I got a guitar player friend who knows how to play the chords. Okay, leave your right hand out, or I want to sit in with this band. The Farmers Market band plays this song. I'm not gonna play my right hand at all, but I've been practicing. So because a lot of times when the accordion plays, most of the time, except for certain genres and idioms where the accordion is really left-hand driven, even when there's a band, I could think really of just a couple that are like that. I would say tell me more. Maybe 3 I can come up with. If the chat has any other ideas that I left out, I would say 1 is polka. In a polka band, the accordion player is playing 2 hands, and the left hand is very important. It's supposed to be heard and felt by the rest of the band and the audience. Forró in northern Brazil, same deal. The groove is carried across 2 hands. The accordion player's whole accompaniment pattern as a rhythm instrument in that case, or even playing, a lot of times they play, if they do play the melody sometimes, but it's very often the music, there is instrumental music, but it's vocal, but the groove is across 2 hands and both hands are supposed to be held and felt. And then Cajun and Zydeco music, especially the Zydeco, all the different sort of subgenres around Zydeco, the 2 hands of the accordion player are supposed to be played and felt. Certain instrumentalists, not always, but a lot, a lot. I would love to know any other ones that you guys can think of. However, in a lot of other genres, the accordion is in with a band, you don't play the left hand. And it's very famous that the Tejano and Norteño conjunto accordionists that play the diatonic accordions, even Alex Meixner talked about this a couple weeks ago, they don't play their hand such that a lot of the musicians don't have any reeds in the left hand at all, and all those buttons actually are just an air release to get the bellows to close so they can get it back to close so they can open more in the case that they want to. So and a lot of times we don't use our left hand, or if we do use our left hand, we don't use it as a groove sort of accompaniment thing, to get in there. I really like using both my hands, and as a total concept, I try more and more and more to always, no matter the band situation, to always have as like a pianist. I like to think of this not as I'm doing the same things as a piano player, but like piano, even if you've got a piano player in a band, piano player is not just going to be playing their right hand. Their left hand is going to be involved, even if you have guitar and drums and bass, and they don't need to be playing the same way that they would solo or whatever, or if they weren't those instruments. You can make chords with 2 hands on the accordion. You can bounce stuff back and forth between the 2 hands on an accordion, even if you're not doing oompa oompa or some sort of groove-oriented thing. Okay, so playing accompaniment for all of us. And next week I'm gonna do it on Palmer Hughes, on At Bat, and at all the dumb beginning songs, and I'll pull up a Galliano method, and then we'll look at like Asturias or some of these other ones where with a little bit of harmonic analysis we can see like what's going on. So moving on to step 3, I gotta extend these live streams out, because by the time I get to talking about stuff now, I'm out of time. So look for maybe after September for the live stream to go to 3 hours. Not that you guys have to be there for all of it, but there seems to be just more that I want to cover. Let's see. Somebody just posted something cool. Musette Mama said, Art Van Dam generally used his left hand only for infrequent accents or closing the bellows, relying on his bass or guitar player to handle the bass line. Yeah, that is so true, and that's what I find with most of those musicians playing in the jazz genre. But more and more, I think contemporarily, we're seeing accordion players use their left hand even more so as more frequently than just every once in a while. And I think it's for the better. I feel like it really grounds me, and I feel like I paid for 2 parts of this accordion. I'm wearing 2 parts of this accordion. Darn it. I want to play both parts of the accordion. They're both beautiful. Whatever. Get that in there. Maybe this is coming from so many like of my generation. I'm 44. I know people that are around my age, younger than me, in their 30s and their 20s. Maybe you guys out there too. I don't think baby boomer generation, a lot of you guys started on accordion or had accordion as kids. My generation, most of us didn't. You have some people, the great Jamie Mashler, the great Alicia Straka, other musicians I can't think to mention, but just a couple of my friends or acquaintances, colleagues, I would say, who started on accordion as children and are matriculated up to being amazing professional artists, all on accordion, never having been a pianist. But that's not the majority. I think the majority of the people that I know that are out there doing it as professional accordionists are, or at least more than half, are people who started on another instrument like the piano, and then saw the accordion, was like, wait, that's so cool, and I can do that piano thing. Let me try that out. Oh my gosh! And like for me, it just was. I started and I got more addicted. So 3 steps. Step 1, I showed you. Just play the melody simply off the lead sheet and start to learn it and memorize it. And play the left hand and work to get a simple left hand, because you have to make up the left hand when you're looking at the lead sheet. Let's look at the lead sheets there. Step 2 is accompaniment. So accompaniment just means play an oompa on your left hand, or something cooler if you want to do something cooler than just a basic 4 on the floor. Oompa, boompa, 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 boom. Right? Whatever you want, but make it doable. And start to feel this idea of 4 bars, changing your bellows. And what you're going to do is you're going to put your chords on the same beat that your chord button goes onto. So in Oompa, 4/4 time, it's on the 2 and the 4. And you got to learn your chords. Totally doable. Totally doable. Okay. And that's that. And sing the melody. Now, this takes practice, but it's so cool. And your voice is going to get better. If you have a terrible voice, it's going to get better. If you have a great voice, it's going to get better. You know, it's such a good thing as a musician, as an instrumental musician, to practice your voice. It works on ear training. It works on coordination. It connects you. I mean, we are humans. We're all, hopefully, most of us are born with a voice and we can use it and all that sort of stuff. So I say all that to you. And then step 3 is the big one. That is, make all this stuff cooler. And I've done many live streams on this, but let's start with one. And I was kind of checking out these performers. This is, if I was to say one thing that like the majority of people that are newer to this style, that are working off of lead sheets or even reading sheet music could do, that is relatively very simple. It doesn't mean it's not going to be new and you need to add to it, but it is, do very simple ornaments and very simple sort of grace notes, half steps below. That makes such a humongous difference. I think music sounds good, but ultimately very sterile. It's kind of like normal human music has all these embellishments. We just do. Like if you think of all the music that you listen to on any instrument, it has all these sort of melodic embellishments to it. And it's just a human thing. It is a human way to do things. We do it with our voices. We have all this different ways we speak. We don't think about it at all. And it is really making your music much more human. I'll teach you one right now before I go. What a short spiel. But the grace note. I mean, this is, so many of you that are in the chat have taken classes from me, so this shouldn't be new to you. But a grace note is a half step below. I learned grace notes because they were in the sheet music that I learned when I started on piano, right? Bach has grace note ornaments. Bach, Baroque music has all kinds of ornamentation of it, all kinds of neat mordents and all this kind of stuff. All styles do. And this half step below grace note works really well for all types of things. It can start to sound like one genre or another, but if I so versus whatever the melody notes. Now let me do the same thing with some grace notes. So much better, so much better. It really warms it up. And in reality, I would be doing a bunch of different grace notes, or different embellishments, but just this one. So, that is like a G major 6 arpeggio. So any of these notes I could throw a grace note on. If I ornament all of them, it starts to sound weird, because in this Western pop music and country music like this, you don't do that. But in other styles, you do that. So a lot of the Balkan styles, Serbia, Croatia, Macedonia, Bulgaria, Romania, ornamentation, and from above, whatever. I don't have them right, but even just that, you're like, oh yeah, it sounds a little Balkan or whatever, right? So, and this is endemic to this style. So they do have, to my ear, that's not really educated, even the melody is like hidden under all of these ornaments and learning to play it is about learning to do the ornamentation correctly. But also in our Western music, super, super important. So a simple grace note below. So it's a half step below, and you put it on the same beat that you would put the note that you're playing. So if I was playing the G on beat one, what's up, Jimmy Grant? Good to see you, man. Thank you for saying hi in the chat. I'm about to leave pretty soon. My live stream usually ends right about now. I'm just kind of finishing this up. R.I.P. Jimmy Grant, if you're still watching, what's your favorite Dolly Parton song? Jimmy Grant is a phenomenal guitarist based out of the West Coast. He's just really, really, really wonderful. Thanks for saying hi today. So any of these notes, and in the jazz lingo for this is called a target. So you target your, like the sort of written melody note, the intended melody note is the target, and then you put an ornament in front of it. So maybe I put it there. Yeah, exactly. So Jimmy Grant said, I don't know a ton of them, but I know 9 to 5. That's the one. Jimmy, if you stay on for another minute, I'm going to play this band I found from Australia. I don't think they're around anymore. They do a really great gypsy jazz cover of 9 to 5. It's super fun, and they lock into a really great groove and pocket. You'll like it. We should steal it. Or you know, honor them by also covering it. But so just to wrap this idea up, these little grace note ornaments really open it up and help it. And I think I'm going to stop there now. And I'm on a mission to cover more and more and help you guys help me really approach music as a language. Music as a language. So let's share this really fun cover of 9 to 5 with Jimmy Grant and the rest of you guys. And we're going to say rest in peace. My name is Dallas, and I live stream every Tuesday. I'll be back here next week. Next week, we're going to go further on more cool stuff to do. And I'm going to talk about how you can take printed sheet. Jose V. Gavila, hello, back from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. I'm sorry if you're just joining me. I'm about to finish, but I do this every Tuesday, same time, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern time. We cover a lot of cool, fun stuff. And the angle of these live streams on my teaching, my specialty, is this idea of music as a language. And let's learn to do it so we can spontaneously do it and all the skills around that. And so we can communicate. We work on our ears so we can learn off of records and we can be in front of another musician. We don't have to have the chords written out for us. We can all do it. We can all do it. And maybe one of the things that I like to do in life is sort of break it down and try to help people get the same pleasure and joy from it. So let me find my way back to this cool tune. Where is that 9 to 5? Here they are. Spyglass Gypsy. Jimmy, you got to check this out. This is really great. Really fun. 9 to 5. It's got to be on their videos. They can't have that many, could they? It's on this gig. Here it is. All right. So I'll be back next Tuesday. Rest in peace, Dolly Parton. Everybody be out there. Be safe. We'll go out with this. Wait for it, Jimmy. Wait for it. All right, then we got the accordion solo. I'm going to go ahead and